I run an Airbnb in the Appalachian Woods, and there are rules you need to follow. I inherited my grandfather's cabin after he passed away. I would never sell it because, quite frankly, I don't want to be haunted by his angry ghost. I live in Pittsburgh, and I've never really been much of a great outdoors kind of person. I spent a few weekends of my childhood at my grandfather's cabin because my dad always said it's good to get out of a city and get a change of scenery. I always figured it was just an excuse for my dad to be able to grab a few beers and relive the days of his reckless youth with his buddies because he was always hungover when we came home. We always had a good time visiting Grandpa as kids. There's plenty to keep you occupied, but if I'm honest, the place always scared me a little. My granddad used to tell my brother and I these stories growing up, and I always figured they were just tall tales and ghost stories used to keep us from wandering at night. I know better now. Don't get me wrong, it's a cozy cabin and makes for an excellent weekend away. Grandpa took a lot of pride in making it as homey as possible, and I've done my best to uphold that. It wasn't perfect by any means, and since his passing, there's been a few adjustments. There's no longer any mold in the bathroom, and the gutters have been cleaned for the first time in about a decade. The shower's decent, and we even installed one of those fancy wooden hot tubs out back, because I hear people like those. There's a fireplace in the living room and a few fluffy rugs. We removed the deer hides that used to cover the floors, because my wife thought it might come off as a little too macabre for the more sensitive soul. And I guess she's right. There's even a fire pit outside for toasting marshmallows, making s'mores and what have you. I'll be honest, I didn't think we'd get any interest when we first put up on Airbnb, because it's pretty remote. Pittsburgh is the nearest city, but it's about a 4-hour drive, and then a bit of an off-road adventure into the woods. The place ain't exactly located on any maps, but the local ranger station does know about us. We only got access to the cell phone hotspot a few weeks ago because we figured people would want to stay connected, even though that kind of defeats the point of a getaway. Now, this ain't no 5-star hotel. It's comfortable, but it's also practical. There's a sofa bed in the living room and then 2 single beds in the bedroom. The kitchen is small but practical and will have everything you need, although the gas stove can be a little temperamental at times. Okay, I think those are the practical bits out of the way. Remember those stories my grandpa would tell us? The ones that I used to think weren't real? I'm afraid I have some bad news. They're real. I learned that the hard way when we began the refurbishment before turning into an Airbnb. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not, and I need you to listen very carefully. Your life depends on it. If by the end of this, you still don't believe me, well, don't say I didn't warn you, and don't come asking me for a refund. Announce yourself when you arrive. This was something Grandpa always did that I used to think was a bit weird, but now it makes sense. Before you unlock the door, put your bags down and turn around so that you are facing the woods. Then without screaming, but loud enough so that your voice carries, say these words. My name is, your full name, and I'm staying here until the exact date you plan on checking out. I mean you no harm, and I ask that you leave me alone. Honestly, I can't guarantee that this works, but manners maketh man and whatnot. If you hear a baby, no you didn't. This is Appalachia 101. There will be times when you are outside, maybe chilling in that nice hot tub, and you'll hear what sounds like a bobcat. You'll probably think it's probably just a bobcat, but I need you to really listen to me here. It isn't a bobcat, nor is it a baby. Whatever you do, don't try to find the source of the sound. Just ignore it, and it might ignore you. Always keep the porch light on. Just as you walk inside, there's a little light switch on the left side of the door. You want to flick it to turn on the front porch upon arrival. No, it doesn't matter if it's still broad daylight. The light always has to be left on. I once had a guest tell me they kept the light off to preserve energy. All through the night, they heard footsteps on the porch and knocking on the door. It wasn't until they turned the porch light back on that it stopped. Pull the curtains at night. I mean, this one is really just a bit of friendly advice, but I definitely wouldn't want to turn around in the middle of the night to a face staring at me. If you hear whistling, don't whistle back. When I was around 10 years old and was out here for a weekend, Grandpa was out sorting firewood, and I was left to my own devices. I decided to go exploring, and as kids do, wandered off. At one point, I heard whistling that,